Good afternoon, good morning, good evening to everyone. Thank you so much for joining to those who are already here. We're still expecting quite a lot of people, so hopefully they join us very soon. We want to say thank you. We've been planning and we've been, waiting a long time for this, and it's exciting that we're here. Today's conversation is largely going to be, from the members of this community, not another facilitator-led session. Of course, this is a learning community where we are all teachers, we're all learning from each other, and today's an example of that, where we will be listening to some incredible teachers share, with us some of the stories from their classroom. Um, and of course, we will get to, learn from them and also share with them in terms of, the challenges that they present and how those exist within our own classroom as well. Before we go any further, I think I would like to encourage everyone, please change the name. I mean, you have a chance, you're able to actually edit your name. So go to the participants, the more option. When you click on that, you see rename. I'd like you to rename yourself with your first name or what you'd like us to call you and the country you're joining from. So for me, it's Dami from Nigeria. So I'm changing my name to that. We'd like you to change your name on the call, your first name and the country you're joining from. That would be so that we can know um, how far and wide this community go. Thank you so much. I see John Mayam, South Sudan. I see Nilton from Senegal. Awesome. Uh, Leon South from Senegal. Ferdinand from Uganda. Thank you so much. Let's keep it coming. Rick Campbell, US. Adama from Senegal. Thank you. Let's keep it coming. I see Abdoulaye, Senegal. I see Kudzai, Zimbabwe. Let's keep going. Again, when you click on participants and you see the names, beside your name, you see three dots. When you select that, you see an option to rename. Okay. Also, more is coming in. Bo from South Sudan. Ibrahima from Senegal. Welcome. Okay. All right. And if you know of anyone that's meant to be on this call that is not here yet, please do share the link with them. We shared it on our WhatsApp group. We've also shared it on the email. So please share with them to join us so that we can get started. But I think while we wait, just to keep things moving, we would like to actually start with a little bit of with a quick icebreaker session. Um, yeah. So basically, the question is very simple and very straightforward. Um, and the question is right there on the screen. Basically, if you could type a single word that describes how you're feeling as a teacher right now, not personally, professionally as a teacher, if you could find one word that describes how you feel, please put that in the chat.
Can I use
We'd
three
like to.
words? Can I use three words, Mr. Dammy?
Please go ahead. Feel free. Feel free.
All right. Actually, I can do it in two. Okay.
Yeah. If you could type a single word that describes how you're feeling right now as a teacher, stunned. That's interesting. That's unexpected. We'll, definitely would like to hear more about that. Grateful from Ferdinand, passionate from Mamadou. Okay. I'm always going to start circle back to stunned from Mr. Nilton. Expectant from Kuzai. Fantastic. Still learning. Relaxed from Adama. Transformative from John Mayon. Great. Innovative from Grace. Amoka, Nigeria. Abdullahi says great. Fantastic. All right. While we, wait for more responses, I still want to go back to Mr. Nilton. If you're able to unmute yourself, would you like to share a little about what's got you stunned?
Sure. Greetings to everyone. I hope everybody's well. I've been doing a lot of trying to evaluate what works and what doesn't work. And I've just been very, very surprised with the number of things that do not work very well. I've been trying a lot of different things, and students, I feel, are responding less and less to the things that I did in the past that worked better. Now that might be biased. It might be some of my performance too, since I now have new hats and I'm in the administration, so maybe I'm not putting as much effort. But I really have been really surprised at my inability to connect with more and more students in the last 2, 3 years. I feel like there is a change in the student body itself, but I'm not sure if I can put my finger on it.
Oh yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, I think the learning, you know, ecosystem is changing very rapidly. The world is changing. What we've tried in the past, may not always be working in the present. And yeah, it's actually a very intriguing, realization and question. But I think I would like to just open the floor for any reaction to that from Rick or anybody else on the call.
Yeah, I can respond briefly. I mean, I agree. I mean, I think that things that worked for us yesterday don't always work for us today. However, I think that the underlying principles, the ways that learning happens and the ways that students learn fundamentally stays the same, but we have to change some of the practices, uh, even though the principles may remain the same, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And of course, I mean, I think it is that same inquisition that has brought everyone together, even on this call, to continue to question what we know, to continue to question what works, what doesn't, and of course, keep figuring out ways in which to improve the status quo. And it's one of the reasons why we're here today, and I'm hoping that, of course, there will be some value from this session today in terms of what we're able to take away from here, in terms of what we're able to practice in our classrooms, from some of the conversations or realizations that we make from today. So, thank you so much, Mr. Newton. I think you already got us started. That's a very important, point to raise. Um, we have only about 15 people, sorry, 16. But I think we need to get started. The session is being recorded. We actually sent out invitation to more than 60 people. But hopefully we have more people join us in the course of the session. But of course, we can't keep everybody waiting, and we don't have a lot of time. People are joining from different time zone. For some people, it's already night, so we need to get started. And of course, the session is being recorded. So, in that line, I would like to hand over to Rick. Rick, do you want to share directly or do you want me to move the screen for you?
Yes, I'm going to share my screen briefly, right? So, yeah,
Okay.
thank you. Let's see. Give me just a second here. There we are. Okay, you should be able to see the slide that's up there. All right, so I'm only going to take a few minutes. I just wanted to sort of capture where we've been and where we're headed, just to remind us all of what our first two webinars were about. And for those of you who maybe didn't make it to those first two webinars, it's a quick review. Um, but anyway, this is webinar number 3. We've had 2 other webinars before. The first one was on self-determination theory, and the second one about making thinking visible. So just a quick recap. Back in February, we discussed this idea of self-determination theory, a theory that was actually developed in the 1970s by 2 psychologists at the University of Rochester. But what's interesting is this theory has been tested again and again and again by researchers during the last 50 years across almost every country in the world, across different age groups, different subject areas, and it has proven to be quite robust and true. And it's very simple. As it says at the top of the screen, if students want to learn, they will. Motivation is probably the most important part of getting students to learn. Are they motivated? Do they want to learn? Self-determination theory says that students will want to learn, will be motivated to learn if they have 3 things. One is agency, the other is competency, and the third one is what DC and Ryan call relatedness. Agency just means a sense of choice, feeling one has control, freedom to follow one's own ideas. And so we need to think about how our classrooms offer students the chance to make choices, to make decisions, to take control of their learning, and how we support them in those efforts. Competency has to do with a sense of confidence that I know as a learner that I think I can do this. I know it's going to take some work and effort, but I think this is achievable. I can get to the top of this particular challenge. And how do we make that clear in a classroom? How do we offer challenges that seem within reach but are exciting enough? All of us want to get to the top of that mountain to see the view, but if the mountain looks too high and treacherous, we won't go. If it looks like a mountain that's tough, but we think we can do it, we're going to go for it. And finally, relatedness, which may in some ways be the beginning and the most important thing, and that is that a feeling that what we're doing is meaningful. That's what they mean by relatedness. And meaning can come from 3 different dimensions. It could be meaningful to us in science class, even if we don't like science, because we're engaged in collaborative activities. We're working with our fellow students. We enjoy that social environment, and that's why we keep working at it. We may feel connected to our teacher. We think the teacher is just a really wonderful, caring person. And we also think the teacher is really excited about their subject, and that gives it meaning. Or we might find that the actual subject is meaningful to us. We may actually love mathematics or love studying history. And any of these one things could be enough to create meaning. And sometimes all 3 of them can happen in a classroom, which is absolutely wonderful. So that's self-determination theory. It sounds simple, but of course, how we prepare our classrooms to make these things happen is the big question. Our second webinar was about making thinking visible, what some people call cognitive apprenticeship. And the whole idea is you can't learn what you can't see, right? If we're learning how to build a house or learning how to play soccer well, we're working with people who know what they're doing and we can see them doing it. We can see the soccer player on the field or the coach showing us how to kick a ball. We can see how a carpenter measures and cuts wood and nails things together and plans out the whole structure. It's visible. We can copy it, we can practice it, and we can get coaching from people who are experts. The problem is, in classrooms, we teach subjects, mathematics, history, science, literature, where the knowledge that we're trying to get the students to learn is in a textbook. It's already done. We don't see how it's done. We don't see how that knowledge is made. And that's a problem. So we cannot learn to think like a historian to understand science because we can't see how a scientist thinks. We have to show our students that. We have to be the mathematician. We have to be the historian or the scientist we want our students to be. We have to get up in the front of the classroom and show them and talk through the struggle, the effort, the ways we get frustrated, the ways we have to think and use strategies to solve a particular kind of problem. And it kind of reverses an old saying. There's an old saying that don't do as I say, do as I do. We need to reverse that. So it's don't do as I do. No, so it is don't do as I say, but do as I do, right? Yeah. My father always used to say, don't do as I do what I say. But really, as teachers, we need to do the opposite. We need to show students how to do things. Yeah. And of course, webinar three, that's today, July 2nd. And this time, I don't get to talk too much, which makes me very happy because I don't like to talk too much. I like to hear the learners in my community talk so that we're all having a conversation together. And so that's happening now, and we're going to start very soon. We have 4 teachers with us who are going to share some of their work and some of their insights and some of the experiences they've had and how they've learned to continue to improve their work as teachers. And I just found a few sayings that I thought might be worth thinking about because I think they apply to this idea of what we do together as a community. This first one, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together, is actually one I hear Grace Amoka talk about all the time. Um, uh, the second one I like a lot. None of us is as smart as all of us. And I think that's probably the most important um, quote for the moment in this webinar that we're having today and in all the work that we do together. So anyway, I will leave you with that. You can see other quotes, and I'm going to hand this back to Mr. Dammy as the Master of Ceremonies. And I look forward to hearing from fellow members of my community and not talking anymore. Bye. That's yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Rick, and of course for setting the stage and for setting up the expectations for today's session. So of course, without further ado, I would like to, of course, hand over to the Grace Amoka, who's going to take us into the next session. Over to you, Grace.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dami, and good evening, everybody. I mean, good morning or good evening, depending on where you're joining us from. It's so good to be here today. And today is very, very special because we're going to be learning from each other. I like what Dami put here, which is for teachers by teachers. That's why our community is different. That's why our community is important because, like one of the quotes Rick just shared, none of us is as smart as all of us. So imagine the wisdom and just the insights we're all going to gather from learning together today. So I'm excited. I hope you are. Buckle up. We're going to be learning from 4 teachers across the world, and we're going to be learning from each other as well. So what's going to happen is they're going to share with us stories from their classrooms, what they have implemented, the challenges they have faced, and then we are then going to share our thoughts as well. And if you have any questions for them, please feel free to ask the questions. But before we start calling them up, I want to see if we're awake and ready or if we're multitasking. So I'm going to ask you a few questions and I want you to just put it in the chat. I'll just ask for your preference. I love to do this all the time. I never get tired of it. So I'm going to give you this or that questions, and then you're going to put your preference in the chat. And the first is, do you prefer hard copy books, like physical books, or electronic books? So reading on your phone or your system. So hard copy or e-copy. Hard copy books, e-copy books, where do you fall on the side of the on what side of the divide do you fall? Ebook, Ezekiel, that's interesting. Rick is like, hard copies, please. Miss me with the e-copies. Ferdinand's ebook, of course. Ferdinand is our tech whiz, so I imagine that he would love ebooks. Dami says neither sometimes, or both sometimes. Kudza is a hard copy girly. Same with me. Okay, who else? Let's have three more. Three more people, and then we'll move to the next one. Adama, ebook. That's interesting. I would have guessed hard copy, like physical book. Nilton is a mix, so sometimes ebooks and sometimes hard copies. Dami loves physical libraries. Okay. Hard copies cost money. That's a problem. Yeah, I think so too. Okay. The next one is tea or coffee. Tea or coffee, what's your preference? And I mean, we're all teachers here, so I can guess, but I'd like to see what our responses are. Tea or coffee? Yes, I expected that. Dami says, coffee keeps me alive. Okay, tea or coffee? Who else? Ferdinand likes his tea. Of course. I mean, you guys have all sorts of teas in Uganda. Chamomile, black tea, lemon tea, every kind of tea. Okay. Hot coffee with cream. Rick, I would have guessed that right. Ibrahim likes his tea. Ezekiel, no preferences. Tea with milk and sugar. Coffee in the morning, tea in the evening from Nilton. Okay, fantastic. Adama says tea with lemon. It tastes nice. I think we should add one more segment to our community meetings, which is we'll have toasts at the end of our meetings with tea. So everybody's going to have a cup of tea or coffee, and then we're going to toast to whatever it is I want to toast to. That's a proposition from me. I hope you take it. All right. I think we're now. Oh, Dami has his coffee already. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so we're going to go right ahead. Dami, I'm going to do my drum rolls, and then Dami is going to reveal the first person all the way from the beautiful country of da 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 da. Let's see who we have. Our first story is all the way from Dakar, Senegal, the Senegalese American Bilingual School, popularly known as Mr. Jim. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together as we make welcome Mr. Adama Djimera to share with us from his classroom. Over to you, Mr. Jim.
Thank you so very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. Thank you so much. The Great. I don't call you Great, but I like to put the definite article. The Great. Thank you for such a such a brilliant introduction. I'm very happy to be part of this webinar today, and I thank all the participants who succeeded in joining us. Thank you. And then, as you have mentioned it in TLI, we our community is very fantastic, and we work in finding ways and strategy to help one another. And as a teacher, I always teach my students that sharing is caring. So that's what we taught to our students. And I think when teachers start caring for other teachers, that will be nothing but fantastic. So, and that is one of the main reasons of today's session. Sharing stories and experiences in the classroom is another way of showing that we care each other. So teachers caring for other teachers. So today I'll be talking about a poetry workshop that I've had in one of my 12th grade class. Um, and then the objective of that activity was every group was supposed to, by the end of the session, to write a poem made of two quatrains. And then all those class has been divided into different groups. And then I we used to study in a classroom, and that day especially I took the students outside. We have a new campus, and we have flowers and grass outside. Look very beautiful. I said, why not? Let me try this one. And I took the students outside. They were divided into 4 different groups, and then they all choose the corner they like. And then I said, as an instruction, let you inspire by the environment around, discuss and write 2 quatrains. Feel free to use any rhyme scheme. So that was the instruction the students should work on. And then I give them like kind of 15 minutes up to 20. They discuss, trying to choose a topic. And what drew my attention is I didn't even tell them. They had already chosen a note taker, someone who will be presenting when they finish. So that shows how organized those students are, like organization skills. And then they have been discussing and then me moving around from one group to another to listen and then sometimes clarify if need be. And then one of the challenges um, like during the activity. But before I move to the challenges, I want to I want to mention something that was the poetry is based on free writing. So there was not a specific topic. So it was up to the group to choose anything that inspired them. And I want to explain a little bit free writing, which is a concept that we have learned from Reed Campbell during our several meetings and workshops and conferences that we have attended. Free writing is a concept is about like and I do that very all the time in my class. I ask the student like for 5 up to 10 minutes to take a pen and write whatever that comes to your mind. And I'm inviting everybody, even if those teaching biology, math, science, do that. It's very interesting. It helps you to learn more about the students, and it can help to fix a lot of problems in the class. As far as like English language is concerned, it does help. It can help to fix many problems. Now, coming back to the poetry workshop, the challenges that I have noticed that the students face were about like difficulty to choose a topic, because when you have a group with different students, they've been discussing, sorry, I got disconnected. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
All right. So the difficulty was to choose a topic. And when you see the students thinking, everybody making proposals, that's one evidence that shows that thinking was visible. And you see, one can say, no, I disagree with this one. And another one just come and reinforce what one has already said. These are kind of situations when you put students in those kind of conditions, thinking happens, and then thinking is really visible. And another challenge was the activity was new for some, and for others it was not, because that class I had them in 11th grade. So for those it was new for them. So they had little bit of challenge to follow because they were not used to. And then another main challenge is to agree on a topic. Some group it took them more than 20 minutes in order to agree. And this is something that brought like collaboration and discussion and everybody trying to convince one another until they all accept to write on a specific topic. Now, as far as the strength of that workshop is the strength of that workshop, I have noticed that I mentioned it, every group has chosen not taker and a facilitator. Those are organizational skills that we can teach our students through group works. So doing group works is very important in a classroom. I have also noticed very rich discussion based on everyone's knowledge and background. The idea they put on the table or the ideas they propose reflect their prior knowledge, and others were learning, and it was also opening other doors for further discussion. Now, as a teacher personally, I have learned that from time to time, it's mandatory, I would say, to change environment. Let's not keep the students between four walls. Taking them outside will help them to feel relaxed, because changing environment can boost, can motivate learner, and it can even increase performance. Now, one thing I would have after the time that was given to the student, I end up having 4 different poems, and that were very excellent. Even the students were very surprised because they couldn't believe that they are the one who wrote those poems. I said, you are all poet to be, but you have just to trust yourself and discuss, and with discussion and with collaboration, we can achieve great things. Now, if there is one thing I had to change after the class, is maybe for those who were very new, I would have maybe started by giving the first line. The first line could have helped in order to um, to think more and be more participative. But for those who were really who were used to my way of working, they didn't have that challenge. But for those who were very new, for next year, I would start giving first line and ask the student to find the three more lines. So they have a quatrain first before asking two quatrain once. I think this is one thing I could improve, I could change in the way I have conducted that activity. But once again, take time. No matter the subject you teach, it's important to take the students outside because changing environment, as I said, can boost, motivate learners. You can really have more collaborative. You will have a better participative class, and then it will for sure increase your classroom performance. That said, that was all for my activity. Over to you, Grace. Thank you.
Wow. Uh, please, I need to hear the applauses. That was incredible. Incredible. Thank you so much for sharing, Mr. Jim. Before we have people just, share what they got, I mean, you could come off mute to speak about one thing that stood out for you from what Adama shared, or you could type it if you're more comfortable typing it in the chat. But one thing that really stood out to me is the fact that we need to be willing to take our students on that path of discovery, because that's all I'm hearing from Adama. So it's an experimental space that you create in your classroom, and students are able to discover. So they discovered the organizational skills. He also discovered that in them. So you just give them a prompt or guide them, say, so this is the goal we're trying to achieve, and then it just inspires me to see how they're able to go about achieving that goal. And I like the fact that they were surprised at the outcome. Oh, I didn't know that I was able to do this, which is supposed to be what our classrooms are supposed to be about, where students realize how much they could do and how much they could become. Yeah. So is there anybody that wants to ask Adama a question about what he did? Oh, yes. So Professor John Mayom from South Sudan, over to you.
Thank you, amazing Grace. And then thank you to my brother Adama for this elaborate story that he has just presented. Mine is not a question, but just a comment that, what stood out when he was trying to explain the story is the collaborative learning, where students or learners were made to own the learning by discovering, as you put it before. And so there was an evidence of active participation where the teacher gave ample time to the learners to discover and then do some connections. Therefore, I think their thinking was made visible through that approach. That's what I just wanted to add. That's what it stood. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Mayom. We'll take one more, so we move to the next person sharing. Thank you so much, Adama. You did so well with time. I'm so glad. So so we have Mamadou Dafe. Over to you.
Hello.
Okay.
Hi,
Hi.
all guys. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
We are okay.
Great. Thank you for giving me the floor. And I'm a passionate teacher, and I know very well Adama. That's why all that he was explaining. I feel myself inside it because, as my brother from South Sudan said, all that he said here is about collaborative learning. Because students, something that we should know as teachers, is, for example, when we want them to be 100%, followers in our class and also collaborators, because we are at the same time guiding them, but them to do the things better than us. This is what we expect from them. we need to collaborate with them, and we need to make them feel motivated and engaged. And this is what Adama has been saying, and this is what he has been doing in his class. And it is not a surprise for me because I know the man, I know him very well because having been in a same training, because we are all English club literates. So if a teacher also is an English club literate, that can help him, better, help his students be good learners. But my question now for Adama is, I would like him to tell me what is his his way of making all his students follow him in his class. What is the icebreaker that he does, usually for his students to feel engaged? Thank you for the opportunity, and I'm learning a lot. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mamadou. Over to you, Adama.
Thank you so very much, Brother Masu. I'm very glad to have you here today. I think it's not a secret. I am someone who like making people feel comfortable. So I like teasing, and then I believe in something, and that's one of that's from a great pedagogue, Alain, who said that it's better to know, to master the students you are teaching than even the subject you are teaching them. So, what helps me to have all my students join me and take them outside and make them involved in all the activities that I propose is I try to build that confidence between the student and I. And then I trust them, and I try to be more as humble as I can so that the students can be very open and not be afraid. I'm not a policeman. I'm a big brother. I'm an uncle for some. I'm a teacher. So and then I never hesitate to say I don't know, because every class I will tell them, you're not the one only learning. I learn from you too. So this is some of the strategy I put in place, and that's why whatever activity I brought, students are very open to joining. Thank you.
Wow, that's absolutely brilliant. I think what Adama has shared just speaks to the vulnerability that we need to embody in our classrooms. And once our students see that, they get more comfortable, they are more willing to share. I'll read what Tariq has in the comments, and then we will move to the next contributor. So he said, Mansour says, we want to see students be better than ourselves in time. Absolutely. That is the ultimate goal. If students can learn what we know and how we think at their much younger age, imagine how far they will go when they get to be our age. Our students should surpass us. Absolutely. Thank you very much for capturing Mansour's thoughts very well. All right, we're making good progress. I'd like to ask you to invite one person. 18 people on this call, we should be way more than this. So send a message to one person and tell them you need to be here. There's a lot of wisdom being exchanged in this room. Okay, so the next person that will be sharing with us, all the way from Kampala, Uganda, Siyota Nursery and Primary School. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Ferdinand. Over to you, Ferdinand.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much, Grace, and everyone on call. Maybe a quick check. Am I audible enough? Sometimes we have bandwidth issues.
You're very audible.
Okay.
You are more
Thank you
than
so much.
audible because you are near South Sudan, so you're very audible. I can even listen to you in Juba. Thank you.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much, brother. And maybe it's evening over here. Maybe good morning to everyone from wherever they are. So I'm Ferdinand, of course, a colleague here, and then a fellow with some of the team. I teach at Siyota, one of the schools which operate within the refugee settlements in Uganda. And of course, maybe before I start sharing, I will start from the problem side. One of the problems we have been facing is large number of children in classes. And of course, for anyone who has ever dealt with a refugee camp situation, you know what I'm trying to mean about, or I mean what I'm trying to talk about. So we have learners who are more than actually the number of available schools. So much as our schools tries to streamline, by trying to streamline, I mean we have classes of 80, 100 learners, whereas our neighboring schools, they have classes of up to 300 learners, where it's very hard. So one of the things I've been trying to work around is seeing how best I can solve the problem of a larger class. Because when I talk about 100, I basically talk about a lot of learners. Some of us, like Adama, talked of them having maximum of 25 learners in a class, which is completely different world with us. So as I'd said, one of the challenge being large class, so it's very hard to manage those learners. So I decided to look at one thing which I tried, or maybe which will change how learners can understand my content and maybe grasp everything. So I started using one of the approaches, that is the think, pair, and share, as my main like methodology or approach I would use in teaching. But then I would as well expand it to, like a small group discussion, which would be created out of the think, pair group, which has broken down. So basically, why I chose this is like having a big class, like I said before, becomes very hard for you teacher to reach every learner. So it's better for every learner to be active. They should be able to talk. So for example, if I am teaching, because there I teach English and lately I'm also handling administration, but in the English class, whenever I'm handling, maybe I'm handling something around composition or comprehension or anything, like I can ask an open-ended question about maybe a story we have read together with the class. Like, for example, maybe why a character made a specific choice within the flow of the story. So I start by maybe giving a minute for every individual learner to think alone, and then ask them to pair with a neighbor, like in group of two automatically, maybe in around 2 minutes, they have to share whatever they thought independently. And then, just like I said, if depending on the complexity of the content I'm delivering, I will then tell a pair to switch with another pair, meaning from an individual person to two people thinking, and then to the two sharing their opinion with the rest. So they form a small mini group whereby they are able to, debate about their different ideas and, of course, different perspectives about the story. Then, before again, some random pairs share as a class, and automatically this brings the idea of like, you know what? I may not reach every learner, or I may not make every learner to actively participate, maybe by show of hand and whatsoever, which is one of the most popular means my fellows use here. So by that, whether you are not able to share with the rest of the class, at least you are able to take part in the discussion. Similarly, I don't necessarily just teach maybe children the English language. I as well teach other things like programming and whatsoever for adults that is tech related. So with this, how I apply this method is like, I start by giving an assignment, maybe a complex coding assignment or something they're supposed to, a script which is broken or a bug they're supposed to maybe look into. So I after giving, first of all, they will still think individually just like this. They bring together, maybe two people think together, after them thinking together. If they're not able to resolve, or even if they resolve, they can share with maybe another pair as well. And by that, they are learning collaborative skills, because when you're looking at software development and a couple of the rest of the stuff, so by default, there is always collaboration. So that as well builds that. And then what has been very effective about this is like, one of the things which I realized over time in both of the students, both the children I teach at school, at the primary school, and as well the adults, is that one thing is like, it gives student like, a double layer of practice, I should say. First, a student will be able to build confidence independently as they are thinking about something. And then as they are thinking, by them, we all know there are some students who are not free, like they're not able to talk freely, however much you will engage them. But if you make them talk to a colleague whom they are sitting with together, automatically they'll be confident to speak to the colleague freely, regardless they can at least talk, however much shy a learner is. And then at the end, they learn like, to work as a team, because we're all looking at teamwork, we're looking at collaboration. We are able to come today because of, working together. And we need to instill this in both children and as well adults, because to them, they are looking at us as, should I call it leaders, or the people they look up to. And then if we don't instill how they should work together as a team while they're young, then we'll be losing a lot. So for instance, I've been seeing how effective this is in English, whereby maybe if learners shift from, small pairs to a huge group, automatically you find those kids who are always too scared maybe to talk or share their thoughts with a larger group. like how I used to, form groups before 8, 10. They will feel very safe testing their ideas with just a one partner, the pair they're with, and as well, expanding this together, maybe to the 4 groups and whatsoever. By the mere fact that they're able to communicate to one, and then they share their perspectives, automatically they will build that confidence, and eventually will even be free to share as for the whole group. So by this, each learner is able to contribute, to the larger discussion which is taking place, and then making them maybe share their own opinion, let's say about a story, makes them as well, feel valued, because automatically they'll value themselves in the groups of 2 or 3. So by the mere fact that they're able to argue their opinions, maybe about a specific character you have raised a question about, they are not necessarily memorizing facts, but rather they are learning to justify, their opinions using evidence from maybe the text you had read with them, like earlier, which eventually, directly develops their critical thinking and then comprehension, because if they're able to retell their perspective to their fellows. Similarly, even like when I look at the tech community, students end up forming like, real software development teams, like in the pairs, they're able to identify the errors or the bugs which are in the system or in the design of the task I've given them. So when they're in a bigger group, they're able to debate together, like, forming like a bigger structural logic. And then by default, most times if students are paired in group, whether they're adults or children, there are some students who are always a little bit ahead. Should I call them fast learners? And then I will maybe call them advanced students or something like that. They will naturally guide the discussion. And then they end up successfully resolving the problem, whether it is a bug or it is just a point of discussion for them to talk about. And then, of course, we all understand that students can actually learn better from their colleagues than from you as an instructor at times. So your work should make learning like possible, or learners should be able to share amongst themselves. And then one of the things which was, I think, challenging about it, like specifically for the normal primary school classroom that comes to, managing a larger class, just like I was saying. So you find normally in class, everybody is quiet, seated or having interaction where the teacher is at the center. Now, it is easy to break them to a pair. But now when it is merging to like a group, or 2 pairs merging together to form a group of like 4 learners, it becomes, like for somebody who has ever been in Uganda or has seen Ugandan classroom, we use desks where people are maybe 3 or 4 on a desk. And then if they are to, break into different groups, so desks have to be moved around. And then should I call it time wasting, or make some a little bit, disorganization or disorderliness in class? I think that's one of the challenges. So you find learners are coming together maybe to form a larger group. And then it's challenging at times to manage, because the transition is not as quick as would be. If it is like other type of classrooms where learners are already sitting in cycles or in a smaller class, it will be easy to manage. Same with the online community as well. Like maybe when people are broken into teams, you find another one has network problems and what so forth. So it makes it a little bit challenging. But nevertheless, this is one of the technique I've been trying to build over time, and hope to get so much better into it and make the best for my large class. Otherwise, thank you so much for listening. I'm open to feedback, and then how I can be supported in how best I can improve this approach. Thank you.
Wow, amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Ferdinand, for sharing this. Um, what just keeps coming to my mind is just how powerful these are. I mean, we're taking practical data and insights from our classrooms and sharing with the world. So Ferdinand is not the only one that has such large classrooms, but he's able to say, this is the challenge that I face in, that is peculiar to the environment that I work in. These are the methods that I've tried or that I'm trying, and you can do the same. So I think that this is really powerful. So it's not theory from a textbook. No, he's done the work. He's experimented with certain strategies, and now he's able to share with teachers all over the world. I think that is really powerful. Well done, Ferdinand. So we'll open the floor. We'll be able to take just one. So we'll take one person now, and then when we finish every contributor's sharing, then we would take other contributions, just so we're on time. Mr. John Mayom again from South Sudan, over to you.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, and I also appreciate my brother Ferdinand for the elaborate and important presentation he has just made. Mine is a question, of course, looking at a class that ranges between 80 to 100 learners, and then you make them in pairs. Given the space in a classroom, actually, really, because my understanding of pair means two. How would the space really warrant the freedom of maybe movement and all this? And I agree with in groups, which is better in these lower classes, because of course, bear with me. I'm sorry. I don't teach these lower classes. I deal with the adults, as Grace was telling my title, which I have not yet had. I lecture at the university and then the secondary school, but going as far as going to classes in primary school, and also being one time a refugee in Uganda, I really agree with Ferdinand. The classes are really pathetic in number. So how does the pair work there indeed? So I need to learn something just about that. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your question. Over to you, Mr. Ferdinand.
Okay, thank you so much, Grace, and my friend, my brother as well from South Sudan. So the pair is the most convenient, I should say, because in most cases, they don't move around. They pair with their immediate neighbor to give their perspective, either the very people they are sitting with on the same desk or somebody sitting in the desk in front of them or behind them. It becomes tedious with the grouping where maybe they're supposed to turn the direction of a desk if at all they don't pair with the very people on the same desk they're sitting with. But just like my colleague said, group work actually works with any level of learners. Maybe it is even harder with the two younger ones. Maybe the lower primary was referring to. It might be harder with them, but it all depends on the task you've given them or the type of instruction you're giving for them for the discussion. So it's not necessarily limited to maybe university students or maybe secondary students. It works with any level of learners, except the type of instruction you give them is what matters. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ferdinand. So the quality of instructions we give can also be helpful to make these strategies effective. Thanks for sharing. If you have any other thoughts to share with Ferdinand, please put them down and then we'll take them at the end of the entire sharing. We're going to have the final contributor for today, all the way from Mr. Dami. Where is this person from? Is the person from Nigeria? Ooh, Dakar, Senegal, from the Senegalese American Bilingual School, SABS. Put your hands together as we make welcome Mr. Thiam. Over to you, Mr. Thiam. We can't wait to hear what you have for us today.
Good afternoon or good evening for everyone, where you can be. My name is, excuse me. I wait 2 minutes.
Okay, so while we're waiting for him to be back, because he said 2 minutes, do we have any other person that wants to share some insights from Ferdinand's session, or you have a question that you'd like to ask? I have Joy Ifeanyi on the call. I have Nilton from Senegal. I have Samsung SM. I have Elaine. Anyone wants to share something? Ibrahima?
No, thanks.
All right. Please feel free to share your thoughts. If you have any questions, would like to hear them. Okay, Kudzai from Zimbabwe. Over to you, Madam Kudzai. I see your mic is unmuted, but we can't hear you. Hello, Kudzai. Uh-oh.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so
Can I
Mr.
continue?
Thiam is back. Yes, please, you can
Okay.
go on.
Like I said, good afternoon or good evening for everyone where you are from where you are. It's a pleasure to be with you. Today we are going to explore how collaborative learning and rich mathematical tasks can make students' thinking visible. The focus of today's presentation is making thinking visible in practice through grade 7-8 lesson on fractions, mixed numbers, and decimals. Making thinking visible in practice. The lesson context. I'm going to give you the context of the lesson, what we explore in class, learning objective. The student will be able to convert between fractions, mixed numbers, and decimals, compare different numerical representations, justify their mathematical reasoning using evidence, critique the reasoning of others. And what is the challenge? The challenge is each group received the following numbers. A mixed number has 3 out of 5, 2.6. An improper fraction, 13 out of 5, 2.6c, 26 over 10, 2.55. What is the task? The task is, the first question is sort the numbers into groups. Decide which numbers are equivalent. Explain why they belong together. Identify the numbers that does not belong and justify your thinking. And the making thinking visible will be, I'm going to ask to the students or ask them, what makes you think these numbers are equivalent? First question. What evidence supports your claim? Can another group challenge your reasoning? Can you prove your answer in more than one way? And at the end, student had to explain their reasoning before revealing their final answers. What students tried, what we did for the task, we divide the student in groups using different strategies. The group 1 will be converting everything to decimals. Group number 2, they will work on converting everything to improper fractions. Group number 3 will use place value reasoning. Group number 4 will draw visual fractions models. Students discovered there was more than one correct strategy. And what worked? Students began asking one another questions instead of asking only the teacher. Examples: how did you get 13 out of 5? Can you prove that 2.6c and 2.6 are the same? These questions are from the students. Why doesn't 2.55 belong? The mathematical conversation become richer, and students defended their thinking using evidence. What was challenging in this activity? Several misconceptions appeared. Some students thought 2.6c is larger than 2.6 because it has more digits. The other, 13 out of 5 is different from 3 out of 5 because one is improper. Some groups reached correct answers but struggled to explain why. They have correct answers but they cannot explain the reason why. These reminded us that correct answers do not always reflect deep understanding. And what we are still figuring out, as a teacher, I am still exploring how to answer every student contributes during group discussions. How to encourage students to explain their reasoning instead of relying on one confident group member. How to assess the quality of mathematical thinking, not just the final answer. How to make visible thinking routines a regular part of mathematics lesson. And thank you for your attention. Comments and feedbacks are welcome.
Wow. This is so good. Thank you, Mr. Thiam. I feel like we're going to have a lot of questions from here. You gave us a lot to think about. And I mean, I'm just going to open the floor right now. Rick, I would really love to hear your thoughts on this one.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are quite a number. I'm sure Mr. Thiam would also like to hear Rick's thoughts on some of the questions he has posed. Yes, so we'll open the floor now. Anyone wants to give some thoughts? If you teach mathematics or you found a way to navigate some of the things Mr. Thiam has shared, please would like to hear from you. But fantastic job. I think the first thing that I'm so excited about is your willingness to even try this out in a subject that we've seen as complex as mathematics, and it's so good to see that this is possible to do. And as we always say, our jobs as teachers, as facilitators of learning, is to keep discovering and pushing the limits as to what is possible. Yeah, so I'll open the floor now. Who would like to go first? You can just put up your hand. Oh, yes, Rick Campbell, all the way from the US of A.
That's correct.
Over to
That's
you, Rick.
correct. Yeah. Yeah, I did type a note in the chat, but I think the thing that was so struck me so much about your presentation, Abdoulaye, is, I hope I pronounced your name properly, is that you're really pushing for the important thing in mathematics, which is a deep understanding of the mathematical reasoning itself. Unfortunately, all around the world, and this is very true in the United States, teachers mainly teach what we call procedure, right? How to solve a problem. You know, take step one, take step two, memorize these steps. Now you can use it to all these other kinds of problems, but they don't know how to think like mathematicians. And what you did was actually problematize the situation, get students to actually think about how they got there and justify their reasoning and deepen their understanding. And basically, you were asking them to think like mathematicians. And I think that's just fantastic. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Rick. So Ferdinand has, okay, Adama, we'll go with Adama first. And then Ferdinand, I'd like you to, I know you shared something in the chat. I'd like you to speak about it if you don't mind. So let's have Adama. Over to you, Adama.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Abdoulaye Thiam, for your presentation. And then I have to say that you're doing a great job. And then it's also important to share this with math teachers because sometimes math students care. They don't are scared of mathematics. It's one of the subjects that give them like headache. And then organizing such kind of activities and these strategies can make students love math. And then I do believe that sometimes explanation from students can even help better than the one from teachers because we among students they can communicate. They may not be shy, they may not be afraid, they may not be scared to ask questions. Now creating such kind of situation where they can think in pair or think in group in order to find a solution to a given problem, increase motivation and give you a very collaborative classroom. So this is something that we should enlarge and share with other math teachers so that mathematics is not going to be just a repetition of a procedures, but something that can lead to deeper understanding so that the transfer can really happen. Because if students can connect, can transfer what they have learned in math to real situation or reality, that leads to deeper understanding of what mathematics is all about. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Jim, for sharing your thoughts on this. One thing that keeps coming to mind is that you're already on the right path, which is the path a lot of us are on as well. These are not methods that we're familiar with. We weren't taught in this way. And for most of our teaching careers, I mean, this is not how we've done things. So it's going to take some time. And one thing that I'm learning on this journey is to be patient with the process, patient with myself as I implement these, and also patient with my students for them to catch on. I'm almost, for a lot of us, we're the only ones, or we're one of the few within our school environments that even try out these new strategies, new ways of thinking and introduce it to our students. So it's going to take some time, and we need to be okay with it, with that process, basically. Rick says, Abdullah, in response to your question, yes, I think asking for extended independent work not only builds on their learning, but allows you and the students to see whether they can transfer their understanding to a new problem. Transfer is the best assessment of true understanding. I agree with you 100%. Yes. Yes. And I'm sure one of the things we would struggle with sometimes is time. It seems like, okay, where do we get all the time to do all of this? Yeah. Do we have any other person that wants to share your thoughts? If you have other
Hello.
questions, yes, please. Who do we
Okay.
have?
This is Ferdinand over here.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Ferdinand.
Yeah, you had highlighted that I would maybe come and rephrase. Thank you so much, Grace, once more. And to my brother who was on call earlier on, I think he ended with a question. Rick partly responded to it. Then mine would be like starting with a question as well. If I had him clear, he said he gives them problem and makes them think. And I don't know whether they express it independently or they share with the colleagues. And then to me, I will start by saying, has he tried? I know he's already doing something similar to that, but has he tried making the students express the way they think, like independently and freely, like in the best way they can understand a particular set of problem he has given them? And also, if maybe he has been trying that, has he tried maybe giving more tasks? Because when we look at extended learning, we may look at maybe a class period of 1 hour, which might be small, but has he tried giving project work? I don't know the level of the class he's working with, but he can give a project work specifically around research or why something is like this. Because when you're looking at mathematics, it's logical, similarly to maybe coding, if I'm to relate to something I relate to. So you can give them further tasks whereby students are able to, carry out research in forms of project. Then they come, they discuss still, marrying or mixing this think pair, which I've been trying with the larger class. I believe even it can work in his way of life. Learners can independently go and do a project work, come share with their colleagues, discuss together, and then the teacher supplements his thinking onto whatever they have thought. I think that can as well expand onto their understanding or grasping of a particular concept. So I don't know whether he has tried that or if that can as well work out. That's maybe some brief supplement I would give. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ferdinand. Thank you for sharing that. Mr. Abdullahi, could you confirm if any of this helps?
Yeah, it helps. I understand, and I like very well the contribution of each of you about the where I need to work on with the students, because we need to change our way of teaching mathematics, because some students, they find mathematics are very complicated and difficult. It's only depends the way we teach math. It's not about the subject, it's about the way we teach the subjects. It's very important. Yes. So it's about methods. We should help the students in order to better learn mathematics, because they find mathematics complicated and difficult, but it's not. It only depending on the methods the teacher is using, right? Okay, that's why we need to find new methods to involve students, to better motivate them. And because actually the learning collaborative is for teachers and by teachers, and teaching should be done by students and for students. We need to help them, right? And students shouldn't be in the class only for receiving knowledge, but they should be at the center of the teaching. They should participate. They should make the teaching, right? Not only receiving the knowledge. I think that's the better way to teach students mathematics and to make it easier for them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That was really good. So students definitely should be part of the entire
Yeah.
process of teaching and learning. Thank you for sharing that with us. Do we have any other passing while we're still thinking of our final thoughts to share? If you're here and you haven't joined the community, you're missing out on a lot. Yeah. So in the chat, Dami has dropped the link for you to join our WhatsApp community. We'll be sharing a lot. I mean, sharing our learnings, our journeys, and contributing to each other's growth in our various spaces. So please click the link to join our WhatsApp community. It's going to be stronger because you're in it. Yeah. Thank you very much. All right. If we don't have any other person that wants to share, I'd like to just hand this over to Mr. Dami to kind of do a recap for us. I mean, I'm so glad I made it today. It's been a lot of learning for me. And I truly look forward to implementing some of the things that I've learned from all of you today in my own classrooms around the world. Okay. It's been an absolute pleasure. Mr. Dami, are you here? I'm handing this over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Grace. I mean, fantastic job, fantastic session, amazing, stories from the classroom. I don't know if anybody noticed, but I think it was very late before even I caught it. Like we had, and this is actually a space where you find, I don't know about other countries, but in Nigeria, there are more women in teaching than there are teachers. And of course, we'd like to, find some balance. So, of course, this is an encouragement to everybody in the room. We kind of make this an open call, and I think we do that on WhatsApp, of course. Given this is the first time we had this amazing teacher step up to share with us, but of course, we would have many more sessions like this, and we would like to see more people come forward, share their stories. It's not always about sharing from a place of, complete expertise sometimes. Also, you can also share from a place of vulnerability in terms of, I've tried this, this is what has worked, this hasn't worked, and of course, the entire community is there to support you. And then, of course, to learn and to share with you, of course, what works in their own context. So, of course, thank you so much, everyone. We've had fantastic, stories from Senegal, from Uganda, amazing stories. Of course, what I am going to do once we're done with this session, over the next couple of days is to share with everybody um, just a summary of what everybody have done. We've taken some notes of everything that was shared here today. We would definitely be sending an email with some of the key learnings, some of the key things that you can take back to your classroom from what each of our contributors have shared with us in a different context and different subject that they've tried it. We will share that with everyone via their emails and also within our community as well. Of course, I guess I have if there's one poll question I want to ask today, is basically for those of you that are here, I'm not sure if Rick, I think there's a poll on this on your setup, right? Or maybe let me just ask, just generally, and then people can just drop a chat in the room. I'm curious, of all the communications that we sent out as we were preparing for this workshop, of course, we used our different, social media channels. We're still very much young there, so we don't have a lot of followerships, but we use our different channels on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter, or X, or on Facebook as well. We also use emails for everyone who has registered. Like I mentioned at the start of this call, about more than 60 people, received our emails. And of course, there's a WhatsApp for those on the WhatsApp. For those of us that are here today, which was more effective for you in terms of getting the communication from this group? Is it WhatsApp? Is it email? I mean, you can just type in the chat which one was fantastic. I got one email, WhatsApp, okay, email, okay. Okay, that's coming. All right, so we're getting emails, we're getting WhatsApp. That can just continue. But anyway, I think just to say thank you so much for joining. If there is anything that we've established in the last, this is our third workshop, and of course it continues to get better. Every session is connected to the last one. It's always about building a community that can learn together, that can, share together. And of course, this is not one of those, workshops or trainings you come to where somebody wants to teach you their ways. It's always, that's why we call it a community. We're learning from each other. You're an expert, and all our collective expertise makes up the learnings that come out of this community. So we want you to be more involved. We want you to share more from what you've tried, what has worked. And of course, I'm sure that there are definitely some things that have been shared here today that some would like to take to their own classroom and try it out to see how that works. So yes, absolutely, we would like to hear from you, learn from you, just to be a more active members of the community. Of course, we will be coming back again in a couple of months to have the next workshop. We'll communicate that directly with everyone. But in between that, we want to try to continue the conversation outside of this general call. So please feel free to reach out to us. I don't know, before we go out, I mean, we're at the end of our call already, but does anybody have any final, either a question, not necessarily just about the workshop today, but if it's about the community or just about the group, whatever question you have or any feedback you have for us, just a quick opinion poll. Anyone? Basically, if I were to ask if there's anything you'd like to see happen on this course or happen in this community that you haven't seen yet that you'd like to share with us, that would be great as well. Okay. Of course, our communication channels are open, so feel free if you don't have any now. Rick, do you have any final thoughts before we call off the call today?
I don't think so. I've been typing my thoughts into the chat, but I just want to thank everyone for coming today and for joining us. And I want to thank the presenters for sharing their stories. I learned a lot, and I'm very thankful for that. And I hope everybody's leaving with some new ideas, and bring more people with you to the next webinar, please.
Fantastic. Of course, we would love to take a picture, of everybody on the call, but I think I'm not sure because for some people it's already night. So if you're able to turn on your video, please do. If you're not, it's okay. Thank you so much. It's also night where I am, so it's already dark as well. So if you're able to
Mr.
take
Nilton. Hi, Mr. Nilton.
Hello, Grace. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
I've been looking at your smile since the beginning. I've been happy.
It's good to see you, Nilton and Ferdinand and others who I've worked with in the past. Thank you.
Okay. So in 3, 2, 1, let's say cheese. Okay, that is done. Thank you. One more. Okay, that is done. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. We'll see you again, and please do not hesitate to send your feedback to us. All right. Bye, everyone.
It was fun. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much.
Goodbye, everyone. Take care.